Hey Buzzheads, Curtis Tucker here with Enid Buzz. We are in the studio and I have got Milton Mitchell here and he is running for mayor, and basically what I wanted to do as Enid Buzz and Buzzhead Radio was introduce all of the mayoral candidates to the people of Enid, not really get too heavy into debates or the politics of it all, but just more learn about who you are and kind of your background, and just I want everybody to get familiar with all the candidates. So Milton, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And why don't you just start out and kind of tell us your background with Enid, your connection to Enid, and kind of just growing up in where you grew up and all that good stuff.
Okay, I was born in Enid, Oklahoma in 1951 at Enid. At the time, I believe it was called Enid General Hospital.
Yes, yeah.
And now it is Bass, or Integris Bass. So that's where I was born. I grew up right on the east side of town on East Oklahoma Street, and had a wonderful childhood here in Enid. My dad was a pastor and minister here in town, and my mother played the piano, and come from a big family of 15.
15. I heard that. You told me that the other day. God, that's a lot of brothers and sisters.
Well, I'm the 12th child.
Wow.
Yeah, 12th child. I have 5 sisters, and there were 9 brothers. I have 9 brothers.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was always exciting. We always had something going on all the time.
Oh, I bet.
Not only did my dad have a house full of people, and my mom, but it seemed that every child in the neighborhood spent time with us, just day and night, week after week after week. That's just what I knew.
Well, I mean, so many brothers and sisters, and then every one of those, if they only had one best friend, you got 30 kids hanging out at the house.
Yeah.
I mean, so you remember Enid back in the day when downtown was kind of the thriving area of downtown and all that stuff?
It was exciting. As a kid, we would actually, what we would do is cross over the railroad track. It was just something that we did. It was just fun. We didn't have to go that way. We could have gone right up 3rd Street and came down to Main, and a lot of times that's the way we would go home. But when we got ready to go downtown, we'd always want to cross the railroad track and do one of our favorite things, which was have a cardboard box and then slide down the hill. And then once you got to the bottom of the hill, it was just, hey, you're up and you're ready to go.
Wow.
Going to the old Sooner Theater or going to the Chief and like that. And it was just, it was exciting, man, to go downtown. It was always something happening, it seemed like, downtown.
Yeah, and you sound, and I grew up in Enid as well, same thing. We would, my best friend and I lived enough blocks away that the quickest way to get to both houses was down the railroad tracks.
Okay.
So, and I don't recommend that anymore.
No.
It is now illegal,
Right.
but we would walk the railroad tracks, and then behind what became Wendy's there on Garriott for a while, there was a hill back there. We would slide down that on cardboard boxes, and then we would make our way on our bikes to Esquire movie theater, because this was probably in mid-70s. And we would watch the movies there at the Esquire. So it sounds like the same growing up, but what I think we have in common is it was kind of back in the day when it didn't seem like there was a lot to worry about. Our parents let us kind of run around Enid, and we weren't really on a tight rein.
No, because it seemed like once you completed your chores, then you could go play, whether it was in the neighborhood or whether you went downtown just to look around, or whether you went to the baseball parks, or you would go down to the park itself, because they used to have a zoo.
Yeah, remember the zoo.
I used to love to go down to the zoo, and they had lions and bears
and those nasty smelling monkeys
that everyone loved to throw the peanuts to.
Yeah.
And they would look at you and give you those make faces at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. And a lot of times we would go downtown because there used to be Bill's IGA, which was down on Main Street. And one of the fun things to do up by the park where the zoo was, they had a paper bin there. And in that big paper bin, they had all kinds of magazines and, cartoon magazines and things like that. Superman, Batman. And I really didn't know we were poor. We were, we weren't rich.
I was the same way.
I really didn't know it, but well, one of the things that we did, we would go there and out of the magazines and like that, we would get coupons.
Oh, neat.
And right, so you get 10-cent coupons or 20-cent coupons, and you could take them to Bill's IGA, and you could get for 10-cent coupons, you could get 2 cents.
Oh, nice.
And 20-cent coupons, you would get a nickel. Oh man, you could get in the theater for 5 cents.
Golly. I mean, now what we did was we collected and we've got some right up there, the 1 liter glass soda pop bottles, and we would take those back, and the same thing, we would get nickels, dimes, and quarters, and then we would go to either McDonald's or the movie theater. Everything seemed to be around 50 cents in the 70s, to get in and do anything.
Yeah. Well, it was a little cheaper for us because that basically was in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just a little bit cheaper. You could get a piece of candy for a penny.
Yeah.
And you could certainly go to the theater if you had 25 cents. Man, you got into the theater, you could take the sweetest girl that you thought, get her in, you could buy a popcorn, a soda, and a candy bar.
Awesome. Yeah, well, it sounds like the same memory, so great. So that was growing up in Enid. So now what are you doing in Enid these days?
Well, I'm retired now.
Okay.
And I worked in health and safety for the past 20 plus years down in Katy, Texas. And we did CPR, first aid training. We helped set up health and safety departments, like for corporations like Clorox, and even for the local police departments and like that. So, and I had a license in nursing, and so we also did, drug testing and tuberculosis testing and things like that. So I spent the last 20 plus years there in Katy, Texas, and then a little over 2 years ago, I moved back here to Enid. And it was a part of our plan to come back to Enid. We own rental property here and like that. So one day I was out driving in Houston, and a kid ran across, and he ran in front of me, and he reared his fist at me. I said, I think it's time to go.
Oh, wow.
I was doing the speed limit.
Yeah.
And I was going way too slow for that particular traffic.
Yeah, I can, yeah.
So I said, well, it's time, maybe to get out of here and head back to Enid.
Yeah. Funny thing is we complain if it takes 5 minutes to get across town in Enid, and you live in Houston or something, and that
45 minutes to an hour to get anywhere.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So so I came back to Enid, and glad that I did. And I love my city. I love where I grew up. I love the people that I grew up around, and so I'm just glad to be back here.
Yeah, and I'm kind of the same way. A lot of people that I grew up with still live in Enid, Oklahoma, even though some of them moved away.
Right,
a lot of them moved back.
Right.
And so it just seems like a community that we seem to be able to hold on to a lot of our residents.
Sure, and I think a big part of it is, the values that we have. We have respect, for one another. I love showing respect for my elders and trying to be there for those in my neighborhood. And as far as the kids are concerned, some of those are my best friends, the little guys running around. And when I first came back to town, one little boy lived across the street from me now. His name is Batten. And I won't use his last name.
Yeah.
But I had my dolly. And he said, well, what is that? And he's a little fella standing about 4 years old maybe. And I said, well, it's my dolly. He said, well, do you ride that? And I said, well, normally I don't, but you can.
Oh, wow.
Of course, he got on the dolly, and he's been my best friend ever since.
Oh, very cool. Love it. So, again, didn't want to get deep into politics or anything, but what kind of drove you to decide to at least run for mayor? Was there any one specific thing, or just something you felt like you wanted to do?
Well, by my neighbors and different ones, they were talking to me about, the condition that the city is in. And they said they would really like to see us progress, move forward, sort of address some of our infrastructure needs, things like that. Mm-hmm. And we entered into those conversations, and another good friend of mine that happens to be on the police department, he shared a story with me about how he was on a chase, and while he was on that chase, he hit a pothole.
Oh, no.
And it, yeah, and when, it tore quite a bit of the bottom of his car out in the back of his car, of his police car. And he says, man, he said, I love doing what I'm doing. He said, but I'm so tired of the way the streets are. So I'm just so sick of it. And somebody should do something about it. And I said, well, I don't know what we could do. He said, well, you ought to run for mayor. He said, I talked to you a lot. He said, you ought to run for mayor, man. He said, you have a lot of really good ideas, and I think we could use those. And that really was kind of how it started.
Oh, well, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, nice. So thinking about, like, if you did get elected, is there like any one, and you don't have to get specific, but is there any one pet project or one thing, one vision that you might have that you would try to get done in your 4 years as mayor?
I'd love to see every street paved.
Okay.
And I know that sounds huge.
Yeah.
It sounds like an impossible task for a town the size of Enid, Oklahoma. But I think it's possible for it to get done. I think the beginning of it would be the creation of a civil engineering department that's completely devoted to road repair and construction.
Okay.
And so I think that by initiating that and bringing that into fruition, that would be the major step forward in causing that to happen, because it's going to take, of course, a lot of planning, and I know it's going to take financing and like that, but I think if we get started there,
Yeah.
that will give us what we need, and certainly give us a blueprint of how to go about getting it done.
Very cool. Yeah. It's always good to have new ideas, and if you don't set goals, I mean,
Right.
you're not going to reach them. So setting a goal of having all the streets paved and no potholes is, you might as well shoot for something.
well, as mom used to say, if you're going to do something, do it.
There you go.
Go for it with all that's in you, and better to reach high and not to get there, but reach high and get something done.
Yeah.
Is better than, and anything is better than nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, great ideas. So, and then kind of one last thought. Any ideas on how to maybe, because, me being Enid Buzz, I hear a lot of complaints on social media. As social media, that's kind of its platform is the complainers.
Okay.
Is there anything that you might want to try or you can think of to bring the community and the government maybe closer together, or communication wise, where we might all be on the same, I guess I want everybody on the same side.
Right. Well, more than likely, we're never going to get 100%
Yeah.
of having everybody on the same page. But I do have this thought in my head that we really do need transparency. And I know people talk, and that's a word that's thrown out there. And what I mean by that is I would like to see us really have more town halls and things of that nature where the community is actually there and involved. Now, and I've also heard a statement, not from the people, but from some other people who I guess have been involved in the city, that's time-consuming and cumbersome. And I hear that, but at the same time, I hear people saying, I would like to be heard.
Yes.
Yeah. We're paying our taxes, we're paying all of our water bills, we're trying to support our city, we love our city, but it's like we're not being heard, we're not being paid any attention to. So I would like to have a lot more town halls and a lot more openness when it comes to what we're doing as far as our local municipality is concerned. And I think with that, we have an untapped resource, meaning there are a lot of really good common sense people with some very good ideas.
I agree, yeah.
And if we would take the time to listen, I believe we could pretty quickly find solutions to the problems that we have.
Yeah.
So that's really my idea about it. Open it up. Don't hide behind the closed doors. Don't come to conclusions before you really heard and listened. and then respond again. Don't be in a hurry. There's no need. We're in the condition that we're in, and it has taken 50 plus years to get here. So if we take another year or two to solve our problems, it's a small price to pay.
Yeah, can't get it all done in 1 year.
No, it's not gonna
even probably one term.
Right. So it may take 2 terms, and if it does, then I'm in it for the long haul. And here's the other thing about it: even after 2 terms, let's say it doesn't get done, I'm still going to give my energy to it and help in any way I can for whoever comes and whoever is going forward for the city or leading the city going forward. So I'm going to be here.
So you're a citizen, whether you're mayor or not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's my concern, no matter what.
Which it should be all of ours.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's I like that idea, because I do hear a lot of people that again, they complain, and a lot of times they complain because they just don't know how to help.
Right.
But if there was a system where they could actually participate and help, then maybe that could solve the problem.
You know, there was a lady talked to me just the other day, and she said these words to me. She said, "Our trail is just so bland. I wished it just wasn't so bland." And I said, well, that's one of the things that you, as a citizen, can contribute to. Now, we can't just go and do what we want to do just because we may see something that would be nice. She was concerned about the butterflies. And I said, well, wouldn't that be a wonderful thing if we had our town halls and someone said, you know, I would love to see our bike or our walking trail be more attractive and serve a good function.
Yeah.
And how about that for an idea? Well, how about if our citizens said, I'd love to buy a plant? You know, and we have a day of planting, just the same as they've done for trees and apple trees and like that around the country.
Yeah.
So it's a neat idea that would really help and beautify and make more attractive something that really already exists.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, you know, I used to get on the Cleveland Trail a lot, and I think a lady on her own that lived there in the meadows, I think she put out like a little book. I can't remember what they call them. It's like a little library, and you take a book, leave a book.
Right.
And I think she did that on her. And then in the middle of the summer, when it was really hot, she would put out a water jug with throwaway cups, and you could stop there and get water from her house, which I thought was that's pretty neat.
That's a wonderful thing. That is a person that is not only receiving but continuing to give back into the community. That's what we have in Enid, and I think that's our greatest untapped resource.
Yeah.
So, you know, as mayor, I really believe that it's time for our mayor, which I hope that's me, to be the face of the city. You know, be out there with the people, be out there, you know, talking to other businesses and encouraging them to come and see what we really have to offer, and try to encourage that kind of growth.
Yeah, I think Enid has a lot to offer. We just need to get it out there in front of as many people as we can, and not only concentrate on Enid, but get other communities coming into Enid with either, you know, people coming in and spending money, or businesses moving, you know, maybe a different, what do I want to say, what kind of franchising or you know, moving part of their business to Enid.
Sure. Even extensions, if there's something that's doing well, for instance, in Stillwater,
exactly.
You know, maybe you can extend that and bring that into Enid.
Exactly.
And what a great idea, you know, for us to partner with other cities that are having success. And I'd love to be able to go and sit down with other mayors that are really progressively moving their cities forward, and man, bring those ideas back, and let's take advantage of it and do the kind of things that will cause us to once again be a viable place. Enid was on the move when I was a kid, man. And I was just surprised to find that we went from being 4th in the state to about being 9th or 10th as far as growth and like that. So I was just surprised by that.
Yeah. Well, if you get in there, we'll do everything we can to help you out. So I greatly appreciate anybody that runs for mayor or city council. At this point, all of those positions are unpaid. If you didn't know out there, you guys, the people that have done that put in a lot of hours, probably more hours than anybody in town knows. So it's a commitment. It's something that it's going to be taken away from your family and your friends because you're going to be spending time there. So I greatly appreciate you doing that. And thanks for coming on here and talking to me. I again want to introduce everybody to you. I think you're probably the least known out of all the candidates.
I'm sure that I am. Now, my sister's well known.
Tell everybody who your sister is, just in case they don't know.
Just in case they don't know,
Yeah.
Leona Mitchell, international opera diva, who's traveled all over the world. She sang for 4 presidents, the Queen of England, the Tsar in Russia, and just all over this world.
Man, can she sing.
I wish I had a little bit of that.
Well, and talk about a treasure for Enid. You can't say all the good things that have come out of Enid without her being in that mix every time.
Yeah. So she's a jewel, and she wants to see things get better. And we were out the other day. She and I, we were just over by Northern Oklahoma College over here off of Main Street, and beautiful place.
I love that campus.
Oh, and I'm thinking, oh my God, we have to figure out how to get the word out that we have Northern Oklahoma
Wouldn't
College.
it be nice to double the enrollment over there?
Yes,
Oh, man.
yes, and it would just to talk about something that brings life to a city, and that is young people.
Look at Stillwater.
Yeah.
Man, Stillwater's killing us on so many things, and it's because of the young kids over there.
Yeah. And they bring, it's the energy, it's the ideas, it's the excitement about life, like we were when we were kids.
Yeah.
And they bring that, and that just encourages us all. So I'm just, that's one of my real passions, is about Northern Oklahoma College and the Autry Votech.
Another treasure in Enid, Oklahoma. Yeah.
And I'm just, it boggles my mind that we haven't promoted them more and really pushed that message out there of who and what we have right here in Enid.
Yeah, we've got a lot. So
Yeah.
it sounds like you could be the guy.
Hey.
So we wish you luck on the campaign
Thank you.
and the
Thank you.
election. Just a reminder for everybody out there, February 12th. I don't think there's really anything else on the ballot except for maybe Ward 5. So, we usually expect a low turnout. I, as Enid Buzz, would love to have a high turnout.
Yeah, yes.
Would love to have more people than the last election. So I encourage everybody to please get out and vote, even though it seems like it's just for mayor. That's an important thing. That's 4 years of somebody that's going to lead Enid down the road to prosperity and maybe new things.
Yeah. So, February 12th is the day. We expect you to come out. If you vote for me, I'd appreciate it, and there's no doubt about it. But the important thing is that you participate in the process, because a lot of us, we've worked really hard to make our government work, and it's all about we as the people and what we can do as a people and as a whole. So get out there and vote February the 12th, and I'm sure you'll check my name.
Okay, well, thank you, Milton. We appreciate you being on here. You guys, Milton Mitchell, running for mayor of Enid, Oklahoma, February 12th. We will see you all there.
All right.
Thanks, Milton.
Thank you.